What's up, everybody? We're back for episode 2 of season 3.
Episode 2, season 3. Oh my God.
Where does the time go when you're having fun? We're back at it like we never left, honey. Listen, we are talking today about 10 signs when you know you're headed for a sexless marriage. That don't even go together.
No, it doesn't.
Sexless marriage. Anybody got time for that? Listen, we want to jump in tonight, but baby, we got to give a disclaimer because we're going pretty deep tonight. So what you got to tell the folks?
This podcast is for the grown and sexy. You have to be 18 or older, married or seriously dating. I try to do a little sexy voice. I don't think it came off that way.
Like Morris Day said, this is only for the grown and sexy people. So this is for educational purposes only, to enhance marriages. Because we are passionate at Naked and Unashamed. We're passionate to get y'all back to the place that God intended for couples to be, and that's to be naked and without shame. You're not supposed to have shame in your marriage. You're supposed to be erotically conscious, passionately fulfilled. So we're going to get you there, but we got to talk about this tonight.
We made it through the test. Strengthening love and sex.
Babe, it's unreal for me to sit here and think that there are couples who have not been together all year.
Well, it's only the first couple weeks of the new year.
Okay. Can you recall a time we've counseled some couples who have an extended period where they have not been intimate?
Unfortunately, yes.
We're talking about months.
Yes, and sometimes years.
And we've had couples sleeping in separate bedrooms. And I read an article the other day that says that as a whole, couples in the world are having less sex.
Wow. Yep.
It's because of busy schedules. Some people have opted just to be roommates. But I know y'all didn't sign up for that. When you signed up to get married, you're like, I don't know, like me, when I was a kid, babe, I would sit and dream about you when I was a kid. I was like,
What'd you dream about?
I said, when I get married, I'm having sex every night. And I'd hold my pillow and act like it was you.
Unrealistic expectations.
Now, wait a minute now.
I mean, there have been times, but again, I'll say unrealistic expectations.
But the point is that you are supposed to be intimate at least 3 times a week.
That's a minimum.
For a healthy marriage, y'all need to be making love, having sex at least 3 times a week. What happens? What are some of the warning signs that you're headed toward a sexless marriage? Have you seen any warning signs?
Oh my gosh.
Through all of our years of counseling?
One of the biggest warning signs that I can see is when they stop dressing for one another, where your comfortable clothes become the clothes you wear all the time. There's no intentionality of putting on some real clothes. I'm not talking about after 5.
You talking about the moo-moos and the granny panties?
Well, don't knock the moo-moos now. Granny got all them 12 kids with the moo-moos. No, but what the granny? Oh, I forgot about the granny panties.
Or men smelling like outside and putting on the same little stinky sweatpants every day. We lose the intentionality. When you were dating, you put on your best public face.
Oh, absolutely.
You didn't let your boyfriend or girlfriend come and catch you looking raggedy. You had on your cologne, you washed up, you brushed your teeth, you had a nice haircut, you put on your nice outfit. But when you get married, you tend to get in this rut where they'll be all right.
Oh, I had a female friend, female person that I was counseling once that told me, well, I don't have to do that anymore. I already got them. I was like, oh no, let's rewind. Let's go all the way back. Yes, she set herself back.
You should not allow Victoria's to be a secret.
And it doesn't have to be Victoria's. Just make sure that you are dressing sensually from time to time for your man.
What does that mean?
Meaning, put on something that's going to be sexy for him.
I got my t-shirt and my panties on.
That could be it. Or, when you couldn't afford Victoria's Secrets, I would take some of his t-shirts and I'd cut a hole down the middle of it and up the side of it, made my own little, piece of lingerie.
You made me all tingly just talking about it.
I can remember them. Yeah.
What? Okay, so men don't wear. Men are visual. We like to see y'all in sexy lingerie every now and then, or something sexy. But what about women? Is it important that y'all see us in something other than the gray sweatpants?
What's important for me is that you shower, you brush your teeth. You don't come to bed smelling like outside. Don't come to bed with your outside clothes on.
Or if you're a woman and you're dealing with hot flashes and you're sweating all night, or if you're a man and you've been working out all day, what you don't want to do is get in the bed and smell like mustard. Especially spicy mustard.
Oh my gosh. No, man, for hot flashes, don't take that black cohosh. Oh my gosh. That sweats through your pores, something serious.
Why does it smell like that?
I don't know why.
It's real spicy, ain't it?
It's black cohosh. Or cohosh.
My baby sometimes wakes up smelling like a spice cabinet.
Oh, really?
Because you be sweating all those hot flashes you have through the night. What'd you call them? What'd you call them today? Heat? You said... You said not heat flash, but some kind of night flashes. That's what you said. Night flash. My baby having night flashes.
My dog be chasing you.
But seriously though, y'all, you got to be intentional about being appealing for your spouse. And for a man, that means I got to go wash my crevices.
All of them.
Especially if you want her to spend some time loving on you, kissing on you all over your body. She don't want to be down there or around you and you smell like lunch meat. So we need to go clean up, literally put on something nice. Men, you can get some nice pajamas too. Go get your feet, taken care of.
That is a point, yes.
So you won't be like Wolfman. And
don't cut up the sheets.
Cutting up the sheets or scratching up your wife's leg. So when you start to feel more like roommates.
Yeah.
That's when it's a big warning sign. When you're just walking around the house, you're not loving on each other, not touching each other, not connecting. Here's another one. When you're not comfortable talking about sex, right? We've been married, 32 years?
It will be 32 this year.
32 this year. And we have grown to the point where we can have conversations about sex and she not feel like, why is he asking for I'm not satisfying you. Is this not enough? And I'm not looking at her like, you don't like the way I do it? What's wrong with you? No, we want to make sure that the other person is totally satisfied.
Oh, and those things change over time. When you've been married for 5, 10, 20, 30 plus years, what you desired when you first got married and what turned you on not necessarily does it anymore. So you have to continue to be a student of your spouse and relearning what it is that turns the other person on.
I love asking my wife, like, how was that last night? How was this spot? What could I do better? Because I want to be a student of her to make sure that I'm pleasing her. And she asked me the same kind of questions. We talk about, when we feel like we're getting in a rut, we have conversations about, okay, what's going on? Well, I was tired, or I had a migraine, or I was stressed out about what happened at work. And we talk about it because both of us genuinely love being with the other. Now, it's always going to be one in marriage that wants it more than the other. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we love connecting with each other. It pours back into us. There's a health benefit to making love on a regular basis. There is a bonding element to making love on a regular basis. And my wife and I love coming together on a consistent basis because it's healthy for our marriage.
Oh, yeah, it extends your life.
It does. I mean, seriously, serious business.
It does.
Doctors have said that a healthy sex life allows you to live longer, to live a longer span of life. They say happy wife, happy life, but I say happy sex, you get to live to see what's next.
You just thought of that.
I did. I was like, oh, Lord, give me something. what is another sign that people are headed toward a sexless marriage?
I could see another sign is where you're giving all of your time and energy to your children. You know,
Uh-oh.
where you're not really spending ample amount of time with your spouse, but it's all about the kids. Now, our children are important, yes, but when you just everything from A to Z is always about the kids, and not your husband doesn't get or your wife doesn't get anything in there, then that's an issue.
It's a problem, ladies and gentlemen, when you're trying to get some, and you got a long leg 3-year-old laying in the middle of y'all. It ain't supposed to be. That's blasphemy. You cannot allow your little. I remember when we first got married, we made sure that them babies did not stay in our bed.
They had their own beds and their own rooms, so yes.
I remember even taking my shirt and putting it in the bassinet or your shirt so they could smell like they were near us, but we broke them from the habit of wanting to sleep with mom and daddy. And your children are sweet, lovable. I get it. There's time to cuddle with your children. There's time to have some floor time with your children. It's time to read stories to your children. It's bath time with your children. But when it's time to get in that bed, I don't know, my brother. You got to get your own. You got to come up out of here.
And it's best to establish a routine early so that you're not trying to break a 3-year-old, you know, from sleeping in the bed. Let's start after 6 weeks, you know, when you're home, putting the baby in the bassinet for X amount of time. You know, let's establish some group norms.
Yeah. And it's so important to make sure that the kids are not prioritized over your marriage, over your connection, because I think there's 3 things that break up people, cause people get divorced: sex, money, and children. How you going to discipline, how you going to raise them. But the biggest thing is when they come in between you, they become CBs, cuddle blockers. So that's 2 reasons why people head towards sexless marriages. Three reasons. The 4th one is this: you avoid watching romantic or erotic scenes on TV or in the movies together. We love going to the movies, right? We love watching TV together. I don't think there's ever been a time where we're like, oh gosh, they're having sex, I don't want to see it.
Or fast forward through it. Oh, goodness.
You know, some people, I'm not judging here. Some people, because of how they were socialized and raised, may feel that seeing sex is inappropriate. There's some shame around seeing people intimate. But if you have a healthy sexuality outlook, you're able to see sex in the context of a covenant relationship and be like, oh, that's exciting. Oh, that's appealing. You know, and take that excitement back home with you. Take that excitement from the TV series with you and be like, you know what? That was very romantic. I want to come home right now and just love on you.
And that's while you were talking about that, what immediately came to my mind was that some may see a scene, because we can't dictate what scenes, because unfortunately it's inundated on so many public platforms. But someone might see a scene and they haven't done that particular scene or act with their spouse, or they're not as passionate as they see this scene on television, and the first thing that may be going to mind, oh, he gonna want me to do that, or he gonna want me to
Is that what you
act
be
in that
thinking?
way. Of course not, because
Huh?
No.
You don't want me to try new things?
I'm gonna tell you when to try new things.
Oh, you gonna tell me?
Yes.
You better tell me. I don't care. I like being bossed around. But no, when that's a warning sign though. When you when you feel this cognitive dissonance about watching erotic love magazines.
Oh Lord, here they go. He gonna be over here feeling some kind of way, possibly. Yeah.
But typically
Typically,
when you go
when
to
you're
the
in-
movies,
when you're in a-
I'm talking about you.
Okay.
When you go to the movies and you see an erotic scene, a hot love scene, how does it make you feel?
Depending on what has led up to it, if it's just something that just popped out like that's so random, I'm like, okay, I might grab your hand a little bit over in the movie theater, so makes me feel good. It
Maybe we should,
makes me want to maybe go home and try some
or
things.
should we take a blanket to the movies?
No, I am not going to jail today. I love you. Orange is not my color.
Yeah, so that's number 4 is when you avoid erotic scenes because maybe it's discomforting to you because you're not having sex yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want them to get no ideas because I'm still in neutral when it comes to my eroticism. I'm still got this list going on in my head, or we still have some unresolved issues. And that could be the problem. It's not that you don't want sex, it's like you never apologize for what you did.
Yeah, that's facts.
Right.
Those
So
are
number
facts.
5, here's a big one. You stop flirting with each other. You know, I like walking around the house and hitting my wife's bottom or saying, you look good today, you smell good. Hey, or walking up behind her while she's washing dishes and kissing her on the neck, or calling her randomly and say, hey, good looking, what you doing? I think it's important because when you don't receive affirmation or attention from your spouse, there's a part of you that starts longing for that. And those people that are outside your marriage, they can smell when you're not getting what you need at the house. But one of the biggest warning signs that you're headed for a sexless marriage is when you stop flirting. Do you agree with that?
I agree. And like you said, you start longing for it. It may be that it's been going, what you've been going without for so long, that attention deficit. And if someone outside of your marriage starts paying attention, you're like, oh, I didn't know I needed that. But then you start requiring it or wanting it from someone other than your spouse.
You know, I told this a long time ago, but I think it bears repeating. We have a lot of plants around the house, and you do a pretty good job of watering your plants. But there was one time when we had gone out of town or something, and one of the plants was left in the foyer where there's not a lot of light. The light comes through the door. And that plant was leaning toward the sunlight by the time we got home. It's like it was reaching for that light coming through the door. It was the oddest thing, y'all. But that's what happens to a lot of y'all in marriage. You don't get what you need from your marriage, and you start leaning toward the conversation at the water cooler. You start leaning into the DMs and the inboxes. You start leaning into the reels and the posts on TikTok that people say, oh, nice picture. You look great. And the next thing you know, you putting thirst trap pictures. You're married, but putting pictures on there like you single because you need the attention of people on social media to tell you, oh, you're handsome, you're beautiful. So you got to make sure if you're married, don't stop flirting with each other.
Flirt inside the home and outside the home. It's okay to show public displays of affection.
Yeah.
You know, make sure I love it when my husband grabs my hand and holds my hand in public. And we even do that riding in the car sometimes. It's just something that's ingrained in both of us.
Yes,
and I think another thing that shows that you're headed toward a sexless marriage, oh, I'm getting tongue tied, is when one of the spouses starts to make fun of the other spouse's sex drive or the lack thereof, for sex. Like, oh, well, it's been 48 hours. I know I'm not going to get any. Or, I know she don't want it. So those kind of things.
Or you want it too much.
That part too.
Like, all you ever think about. And so there has to be a balance that's struck between a husband and wife. One's going to want it more, one's going to want it less. It's very rare that you got two nymphomaniacs that are married, like, let's do it all the time.
Yeah, that's
and life
another
does not
issue.
life be life, and man, to the point where even the people that want it more than the other, even they get tired, and you got to be able to talk about that. But to your point, you don't want to make fun of the other person or belittle the other person and use sarcasm. Just say what you want.
Right.
Like, babe, I really miss being with you. I love when we're connected. I feel like the whole universe is well. Everything is going well in my world when I'm with you. I thought about Tony Terry. when I'm with you. Oh, I can't think of it.
What's the song?
Tony Terry song, When I'm With You. But it's so important that we do not, because watch this. John Gottman said that for every negative interaction, you need 5 good interactions to overcome the negative. And so when you keep saying negative things to each other and tearing each other down, before long, there's nothing left because you have not built each other up.
Yeah.
Couples who make it turn toward each other, not away from each other. So please be careful making fun of the other because of the lack of sex drive or because they seem hyper driven. You don't want to tear your spouse down. Another thing that you know that you're headed for sexless marriage is when you rarely touch each other inside or outside of the bedroom. You know, I'm a very touchy-feely. And my wife be like, boy,
I'm having a hot flash.
leave me alone. I'm having my heat flash. What'd you call it?
Night flash.
I'm having my night flash. Mustard! You know, when you get to the point where you're not touching each other, not hugging each other, not kissing each other, you're headed toward being roommates. That's not cool. The human touch is so important. It's so important. Oxytocin is released when you touch each other. How important is it for you, babe, for me to embrace you, to touch you, to hold you, to cuddle? Why is that important for you?
Actually, it's right up there with sex. It's so important because that's when I know that I'm feeling protected, I'm feeling loved. You know, it's not like I'm just gonna put my arm around you. No, when I'm feeling that skin to skin contact next to you, it's just like I can breathe. You know, I'm safe.
So let me ask y'all a question. This is a poll real quick. How many think that it's good to sleep with no clothes on so you have that skin to skin contact? And how many of y'all think I'm putting on my pajamas? It's just a question. I'm curious to see what the poll is, how this thing polls out between men and women. Should couples sleep together skin to skin? Or I think doctors have proven again too that it's healthier to sleep without clothes. It also helps some heat flashing.
You know what? I can't. I don't have stats for that right now.
Research. Somebody Google it. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. Is it healthier to sleep naked? I think it is.
I don't think it is.
But we do.
We do because it's a preference.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a mandate. It's a preference.
Okay, so that's gonna be our next podcast.
What is it?
We're gonna talk about, is it healthier to sleep naked or with clothes on?
Okay, let's do it.
Because you sound like you doubting my research over here.
Yeah, I need to see.
Huh?
I need to see.
Don't you doubt me, girl. I know too much about him. Come on. What's the next one?
The next one, you used to, in our younger years, say that I did this.
What?
That I would stay up later
Uh-huh.
than you to avoid.
Okay, this is
sex.
gonna be good. This is really gonna be good. I want the world. This is a world premiere of something I've always tried to untap with my wife. I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to see if she's gonna be 100% honest today. Y'all ready? Rhonda, has there ever been a time?
No.
What?
Has there ever been a time? I'm feeling attacked.
No, I just want to know.
No.
Are there times when you say, I don't want to go to bed because I know he going to want something, so I'm going to stay up and clean up the house, do these dishes,
No.
Do the ceiling fans, clean out my office. Has there ever been a time when you did that?
I've stayed up late doing those things, not to avoid sex. It's because I get more energy at night. And so you are an early riser. I like to
Sleep late
and stay up late.
Stay up late, sleep late.
I guess I'm a back in that aspect.
Betty.
But I think what has helped us in the past is we recognize that, because my husband wants to say his doctor has told him that he needs to be in bed by a certain time.
By 11 p.m.
It keeps getting his doctor told him that. Sometimes I will come to bed. Well, me being older now, I sometimes beat you to bed. But I would take care of him and then get up and do what, because sometimes having the home quiet and still and waking up to a clean home just helps me start my day, as opposed to waking up the pillows. And I got a little bit of self-diagnosed OCD where I want the pillows to be a certain set a certain place, and I don't want dishes in the sink, that kind of thing. But I can honestly say 1000% that I have not stayed up later to avoid sex.
Say it in the microphone.
I have not stayed up later to avoid intimate, sexy time with my husband.
Oh, that feels so good. Thank you, God, for the truth.
I feel you just didn't receive my truth. Now, there are other times I have a very complicated skin routine, and I want to do my steps because I was a teenager that suffered from acne, and I'm not trying to be an adult with acne. So I have a very complicated skin routine that I adhere to. And so I don't think there are times that it's earlier than 11 and he may think I'm supposed to be gravitating to bed. And I'm like, it's not 11. It's not you're not turned to a pumpkin.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, America, listen to me. No, Bernie Mac. America. The reason that I have to get into bed by 11 p.m. is because biologically, your body must restore its good hormones through 6 to 7 hours of sleep. If you do not get 6 to 7 hours of sleep, you age faster. It's bad for your organs. It's bad for your brain. So it's like a grocery store. Have you ever driven by a grocery store early in the morning or late at night? You see a truck backed up to the back of the grocery store, and they're unloading because, watch this, after all the people have taken all the groceries from the grocery store during the day, the trucks come late at night and they restock the shelves so that when the first customers come back in the morning, there's what? Food on the shelves. Mm-hmm. In order to put some good hormones back on the shelves, you got to give your body a chance to rest. So, baby, whether you believe it or not, my doctor said that not just for me, but that applies to all human beings. You are not a machine. As much as you think you are, you still need to come and lay down and get some of this love and some good sleep.
All I heard when he said that was 6 to 7 hours.
Really? That's all you heard?
That's what I heard.
Lord. Anyway, on to the next one. You know you're headed for a sexless marriage when you jam-pack your schedule with other obligations, leaving little time for each other. You got to make sure that your marriage is top priority. When you're always busy, always working, always bringing work home, you're saying to your spouse, you're not important to me. And I hear some of the men saying, come on, player, I got to provide for my family. How else is my wife going to keep up with this lifestyle? And, I provide for my family and my kids need stuff. I get it, bro. I do. But the most important thing is to make sure that woman feels like you love her and you appreciate her. And the same thing for men. I remember back in the 80s, there was a commercial, the Angeline woman. Mm-hmm. I can bring home the bacon.
Fried up in a pan.
And never let you forget you're my man, 'cause I'm a woman.
Angeline.
So is it realistic to think that you can be a successful career person but still make time for your marriage?
You said, is it a myth?
Is it possible to do both?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely possible to be successful in your career and make time for your spouse. I think a lot of times what can happen is that one person puts more on their plate and expects the partner to adjust to what they put on their plate. Before, you're coming home at 5, we leaving the office. Now, the technology of Zoom, we got a meeting at 6, we got a meeting at 7. Now we got one at 8. Oh, now I got to prepare for that. I still expect all the perks, but now you've pushed my time because that person added more stuff on their plate.
You know, just to be a little transparent, one of the things you always used to say to me was, you've given your best to the world, to the congregation, and I feel like you come to me after you've given them everything. And I heard you first. I was like any person. I got defensive, and I was like, "No, I'm doing this because I'm trying to take care of my family." But I heard you, and I started making those adjustments to say, you know what? I got to have a cutoff point. I have to not bring work home, and a big part for me was realizing it's not up to you to pour back into me what I exhausted doing my job. I have to find a way to replenish myself. For example, they say if you are a person that uses your brain a lot at work, to decompress and de-stress, you need to use your hands. And the opposite for people who do a lot of manual labor, you need to do something with your mind. But I was stuck in this trap thinking my wife needs to come make love to me. My wife needs to come and do this because I'm tired. She needs to recognize. But my wife was like, I need some of that energy you gave away. Reserve some of those words for me. Reserve some of that energy for me. So one of the ways that you head toward sexless marriage is when you jam pack your schedule with other obligations, leaving little time for each other. Is there anything else people can do to avoid that trap?
Y'all know what I'm going to say.
Oh, don't say it. Say it another way.
Make sure that you talk about what those expectations. If
There
there's
you go.
If there is a change in work schedule, or if it's just for a season that there are some longer hours, give your spouse, I don't want to say the first right of refusal, but give your spouse the opportunity to adjust.
Can I add to that? You are onto something. You said the first right of refusal. I have to agree with you. Because as a busy pastor, I made up my mind a long time ago that I was going to come to you and the boys to talk about my schedule. Because I didn't want to spend a lot of time away from home and starve my family from what they needed the most, their husband, your husband, and the kid's daddy. And so we would come together and talk about, what do y'all think about if I go here, I take this engagement. So there was a number of engagements that we agreed upon that I would take a month, and not to inundate, because the boys had baseball, they had wrestling, they needed haircuts, we had date nights. So you're right, you're not wrong. I think it's important that your spouse gets the first right of refusal. Don't just crowd your calendar with stuff when your family and your marriage is your first priority.
And like I said, it may just be for a season, but making sure that the other person is aware, and it may be something that could be outsourced. If you have multiple children that have multiple games and practices, if there are in-laws that could, help.
You know what my saving grace was, babe? When them boys learn how to drive.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out, Abo. Hey. I loved when the boys got their driver's license, and it was a joy for me to go get them a little used car. So you drive yourself to football practice.
But until the age of 16, we don't want to.
We don't want a 9-year-old driving to Target.
No. Was the baby 9 or younger?
9.
I thought she was younger. Okay.
Yeah. All right. The last one, guys. The way you know you're heading toward a sexless marriage is you have unrealistic expectations about what sex should be like. And we kind of started at the top of this podcast talking about how I used to dream about making love every night. And you're like, that's unrealistic. It is, because age sets in, your body changes, you get busy, you get tired, but it's important to talk about your expectations, because watch this, an offense is an unspoken expectation that is left unresolved. And my wife and I have had countless conversations about how many times we want to make love through the week. And we've settled on about 3 to 4, right? And so we know that there are a couple of days where if we're tired, it's okay. We give the other a pass because we've been consistent in connecting. And so it's not a big deal. Okay, I didn't get none last night. That's fine. There's always tomorrow. But what you don't want to happen is to have unrealistic expectations swirling around in your head and you never communicating with your
Right.
spouse.
And when you saying we set up, our frequency, the opposite of that is the unrealistic expectation. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna ask, I'm not gonna even initiate because I know I'm gonna be rejected. And so you keep thinking about, well, I'm not gonna approach, I'm not even gonna try because I'm gonna be rejected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I've been there before. It's like, I'm just going to go in here and watch the ball game. I'm going to go take a hot bath. And then there's been times when, I'm strolling on social media or something because you were cleaning the blinds or doing whatever you did. And you come in, you're like, oh, I thought you was on social media. That's why. No, I'm on social media because I thought you were too busy. And what happens? I didn't communicate. My expectation, she didn't communicate. We just assumed.
right.
I assumed she was going to be busy the rest of the night. She assumed that I was entertaining myself. No, I was preoccupying myself because I was frustrated. So I want her little tail to come on in this bedroom because I want some tail. But anyway, these are the signs that you could be heading toward a sexless marriage. That's an oxymoronic title, a sexless marriage, because marriage is built on intimacy. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 tells us, do not deny one another sex. Do not deny one another intimacy, because when you do, you give the devil a foothold in your marriage. And so God created sex as a way for us to connect, a way for us to bond, a way for us to stay healthy, a way for us to keep other people out of our marriage. So whatever you do, my brothers and sisters, do not watch yourself gravitate toward a sexless marriage. We gave you 10 warning signs. And if any of those signs are true for you, I need you to go talk to your spouse about that one particular area, those couple of areas where y'all are drifting, and just have an honest, loving conversation about it.
Yeah, that's just an area of opportunity for you guys to discuss. Okay, well, how can we make sure that we don't stay in this particular rut?
Yeah. And speaking of getting out of ruts, June 5th through the 9th, in Nassau, Bahamas, this year, we are going on our international marriage retreat. Baby, can you describe what's going to happen in Nassau?
We will have some very uplifting conversation. No, we're going to teach you guys different things that's going to help enhance your marriage. In addition to, we're going to have fun on the beach. We're going to have some activities. We're going to have an opportunity for you and your spouse to have some alone time, so you to enjoy the island. We're going to have dinners together. We're going to have a grown and sexy married retreat. And it's just going to be fun.
We're going to be specifically talking about the role of fantasy in your marriage. And a lot of people like fantasy. Are y'all into kink? We're into creativity. A lot of times you get so stuck in doing the same stuff over and over, you lose the ability to fantasize, to be creative about what it is you want that you have not done already. Some of us are intimidated by asking for what we want because we're afraid the other spouse is going to think, where'd you want that? Where'd you get that idea from? But when you are open-minded and open-hearted and you're able to share your fantasies, your creativity, man, it takes your sex life to a whole nother level. So that's what we're going to be teaching you in Nassau. And you still have time to get to establish 4 easy payments to get that ocean view room on the bluest water you've ever seen, being up under the moon in the Bahamas. Can you imagine hearing the lapsing of the waves hitting the shore of the island? Can you imagine the white light glimmering off the waves as you sit on the balcony sipping that drink with the umbrella, and you have on your robes and you're both sitting there with the glow of the suntan you got that day? Can you see it? Can you smell the salt in the water and hear the waves and imagine eating breakfast on the balcony in the Bahamas? It's possible. Go to where, babe?
www.nakedandunashamedxls.com. Go to the area that says retreats. As you see that, it will say June 2025 marriage retreat.
It's going to be amazing, and you got to be there. You deserve it. You deserve it. Listen, we hope that we've helped you tonight. Do us a favor. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast, do it right now. Do us a favor at the top of the year. Think of 3 couple friends that need to get what we just said. We said some profound stuff, and we try to be as transparent and as honest and as real as possible. Please share this with 3 of your couple friends so they can get it. Anything else?
Also, I know that insurance is changing at the top of the year. Everybody's getting reinstated. Why not reinstate your marriage? We have a program where married couples are staying together, where our whole goal is to find more creative ways on staying married, because we've been married 10, 20, 30 plus years. This program is called Eden Circle. If this is something you want to check out, go to theedencircle.com.
Yeah, you need 2 things in order to have a successful marriage, a healthy marriage. You need a coach. Ron and I have been married for 32 years. We're certified sexologists, and we are certified marriage counselors, and we want to help you. We want to become your coaches and meet with you when you need us. And you need a community. You need a community of like-minded couples who are trying to do their best to make their marriage the most amazing marriage possible. And we're also going to extend our menu options this year. Stay tuned. Probably at the top of February, we're going to unleash some new menu items like workshops for erotic touch, how to give erotic massages to your spouse. We're going to be teaching you how to do breath work to increase those full body orgasms. We're going to be teaching you a lot of menu options that we've learned through our training that we are ready to finally release. So stay tuned. The first week in February, we'll be releasing new workshops, new classes, so that you can take your love making to the next level.
And that will be offered through theedencircle.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Theedencircle.com. Go check it out. Well, listen, we love you guys. Thank y'all for being on with us tonight. And we'll go live sometimes the first quarter. We'll let you know when that's coming up. We're just trying to get our rhythm back at the top of the year. But we'll be back with some fresh and new stuff because we want you to be what?
Naked
and without shame. All right. We'll see you next time. Y'all go and be blessed and keep loving on each other. That's what it's all about. See you soon.